Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for the Crowdfund Beat, and I'm excited to have with us today a special guest, Joe Elias, who is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Loquidity, a Michigan-based real estate crowdfunding portal. Joe, thank you very much for joining us today.
Devin, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time.
Well, this is really an exciting time to be talking to you because of the new changes in Michigan law. And I want to tease that and come back to it because I want to give you a chance to tell us a little bit so that we understand your frame of reference. What is Loquidity? Who do you serve? What are your customers like? Tell us about the company.
Sure. So Loquidity stands for local liquidity. And the reason why we came up with that name is that we really wanted to build kind of a community aspect around what we do. The Midwest investor is one new to crowdfunding, so we find ourselves doing a lot of education and kind of the benefits and why crowdfund, and then giving them options to invest in real estate where they couldn't before, or it was only slated for the select few. So we're giving people investment options that they didn't have access to before, and we're really excited about that. And our investors are extremely excited about the opportunities. Not just investing in real estate, but the impact that they can make on in their local communities.
It really does have some positive impact on a community to see investment in real estate. It's just such a signal to the community that positive things are going on when, whether it's a home gets rehabbed and sold to a new family or a commercial space, it really has a big impact. I want to drill down, though, on something you said that struck me as very interesting and relevant. You talked about the need to educate investors on this whole new marketplace of crowdfunding. Tell us a little bit about attitudes you're finding, how you address those attitudes, and how you bring more people into the fold through education.
Yeah, so the investor, one, has a limited understanding of what crowdfunding is. I mean, when people think of crowdfunding, they're like, yeah, I think I heard something about that. Is that Kickstarter? Is that Indiegogo? But when you start talking to them about the investment opportunities with crowdfunding, you kind of have to, make it as simple as possible for them to understand, right? So we're always, refining the way we talk to our investors, getting them more educated and more comfortable about what crowdfunding is and the opportunities that lie. And then once it doesn't take that long for them to get it. And once they get it, it's like I want in, right? We have a lot of excited investors. Our team gets calls and emails every day. I'm sure just like the other portals, but they're so excited because we're from the Midwest. We're located in Michigan, and we're supporting the Midwest properties. They're really excited about access to capital, about really helping and developing their communities. And that's what we're selling, right? And it's an easy sell. We don't really have to sell that hard because we're passionate about the Midwest and where we're from, and we want to see it grow. The Midwest has always been considered the fly-by states, and for us, there's great opportunity in the Midwest. There's a lot of reports that show the Midwest is coming back strong, and we need to help, kind of put some gasoline on that fire and really accelerate it.
Well, it is an interesting tool that crowdfunding represents for economic development, and we see that potential in the developing world and in all kinds of different microeconomies, but clearly you're seeing how that's playing out and playing a role in the redevelopment of the Midwest economic situation and the economic growth there. What do you see? How do you see that role playing out in the medium to long term? Do you think it will matter? Do you think it makes a difference at some scale?
Oh, I think it matters a great deal. If you look at certain cities, like I'll give an example. I'm from Detroit, so I'm a really big Detroit fan, and so Detroit has got this huge resurgence, right? The big three have come back, and I think people are kind of scared of, okay, if the big three were to fail again, does Detroit go back to where it was before? You have entrepreneurs and philanthropists like Dan Gilbert, the Illich family, Penske. Those guys are putting in a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort into the city of Detroit. Especially, Dan Gilbert. He's bought probably over 60 properties. He's continuing to buy properties. And he's looking for people on, he's looking to say, okay, how do I fill all these buildings that I've been able to purchase, right? How do I get people back into downtown Detroit, have them live there, work there, raise their kids there? It's a big challenge. I mean, Detroit's had a lot of, more bumps than any other city that I know of. And living there and going to school there, you saw that. And so I was there a couple weeks ago, and it felt great, right? You can feel the energy in that type of city, and you see that one person or a couple people's, ability and drive can change in a city like that in a very short period of time. And we think we can give Detroiters more access to Detroit and invest in Detroit and feel like they're part of the community, more so than just, one to two big, investors. We can get the rest of Detroiters to invest, because you'll start seeing people downtown more often. It's their home, they want to, it's their investment, and they say, hey, I have a piece of that building. I'm going to make sure that, I'd love to go to this coffee shop that's here or that restaurant that's there and see my investment grow, because as we all know, real estate is not just the piece of property itself. It's the market, it's the surrounding areas that property is around, right, that needs that growth and that development. And that's really what we're after.
Well, Joe, let's jump now to this topic that it so intrigues many people in the country, maybe in the world. But Michigan has passed recently a Michigan exemption to allow for ordinary investors to participate in crowdfunding investments. Tell us a little bit about that Michigan exemption. What are the rules that govern?
So Michigan saw an opportunity, and they took an opportunity to say, okay, they've heard what Title III could potentially be with a lot of the, financial audits needed for just $1 million raise. So Michigan said, hey, we'll have no financial audits up to $1 million raise, and we can go anywhere up to 2 to 2.5, depending on what your mix is of accredited to non-accredited investors. And if you're unaccredited, you can put in $10,000, up to $10,000, and if you're accredited, obviously there's no limit there. And you can do a mix between accredited and non-accredited offerings as well, right? So you can actually go above the dollar amount specified depending on how you're doing your offering. So Michigan is one. There's been one brewery that's gone live with the Michigan Act. There's a couple more that are in the hopper right now, and we definitely want to take advantage of that, because one, I think that a lot of Michiganders don't have knowledge about what this crowdfunding rule is and how to use it, and we're actually the first crowdfunding platform in the state of Michigan that's investment based, and the first real estate crowdfunding platform in the Midwest. So we're getting a lot of calls now as to, hey, how can I invest? Do you guys have anything coming up in Detroit? Do you have anything coming up in Grand Rapids, Chicago? So obviously we're talking about the Mile Act, but there's other people who want access to the investments. But the Mile Act for us is a great opportunity to really bring community development, right? It's a strong, powerful tool that it's open to everyone, and that's exactly, in my opinion, crowdfunding should be, right? Crowdfunding should be open to everybody. People should be able to invest in their communities no matter what dollar amount they make. And so for us, the Mile Act is a great catalyst to a state that's already growing and developing. And so we want to take advantage of it, and we want people to really take advantage and invest in their communities using the Mile Act. And we plan on using it heavily, hopefully in the near future.
How does the Mile Act define intrastate boundaries? I guess I'm curious about the notion of an enterprise's interstate activities. It seems to me there may be federal rules that would prevent Michigan from allowing its residents to invest in a company based in Michigan if the company primarily does or even does meaningful business outside the state. Are there limits on that activity scope in how people can invest?
Yeah, there is, and I think there'll be a point in time, because we haven't really tested the system yet to find, where the challenges lie. There are limitations. So one of the limitations is that 80% of your revenues have to be within the state of Michigan, right? So that's why real estate works really well for this.
Perfect for real estate.
Right? Perfect for real estate. Obviously, 100% of your investor base has to be within Michigan, right? So you have to make sure that they have a Michigan ID, they have a Michigan address. You know, once one person crosses state lines, then you know the deal is done, right?
Right.
And then 80% of the workforce also needs to be within Michigan. So those are some of the other caveats to the rule. But we think with real estate it's a no-brainer. It's a very easy thing. Real estate, it doesn't really move, right? People who work in that building tend to they're not working anywhere else. So for our purposes, it doesn't impact us very much.
Yeah, no, it is, real estate is the perfect intrastate securities offering. So tell us a little bit, have you now conducted some ordinary investor offerings?
Through the SEC, through the national,
through the mile exemption, through the Michigan exemption rules.
We're working on a few right now. We haven't opened it up to the investors. Obviously, we have to go through our due diligence process and make sure that the deal is sound for our investors. We're working on a few right now that we think will be great candidates for Michigan. And we're also talking to some people in the near future about opportunities that they will have for properties in the city of Detroit. That's an area where we're really excited about making an impact and providing some community opportunities for Detroiters and Michiganders, for that matter.
Terrific. Well, Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning. I know you're busy. Tell people how they can connect with you, how they can learn more, how they can invest, how they can get their deal on your platform. Give us just a quick orientation to how one participates with Loquidity.
Oh, great. And thanks for having me, Devin. Obviously, they can go to liquidity.com. There's a comment box there, or you can send us an email to info@liquidity.com, or you can email me directly, joe@liquidity.com. We are open to great deals. We're open to great sponsors. We want people who want to help grow their communities. Use our platform. We're not interested in stale properties that somebody just wants to make a quick buck. We really are looking for community development type projects, and we have a great team. Our team has a lot of experience with real estate and financial structuring and operations, and compare us against any other team, and I think we'll do quite well. So we're excited about the opportunities, and we're excited for our investors. And I encourage everybody to reach out to us. We are extremely open, and we're Midwest guys, right? So we're pretty easygoing, and we'll roll up our sleeves and get to work with you.
Great. Well, Joe, again, thank you very much for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
All righty, let's do some good.